My name's David Hughes and I'm A Rocha UK's Churches Director. This film shows how some churches in the Diocese of Yorkshire and the North East of England have responded to the message of creation care. Parishes all over the country are finding their own ways to be stewards of our planet, and I hope you'll be inspired by these examples to care for God's creation.
Welcome to Yorkshire, where we have been visiting a variety of churches that are engaging with creation care. Many have achieved eco-congregation status, including St John's Hurst Green.
Hello, I'm Claire and I'm speaking from St John the Evangelist Church at Hurst Green in the beautiful Ribble Valley. Today we've got a speaker from Coreo Care who's brought along his Birds of Prey to come and talk to a group of children and adults and also a group of blind children about the Birds of Prey. And this is part of our programme of events called Church Goes Wild. Let's go inside and join in the fun.
Yeah.
He's got his eye on Boo.
All right.
Normally it would have taken millions of years to slowly change from different temperatures, and then the animals would have been able to cope with that, but since it's so quick they're just not coping and they're dying out.
The main project started during an interregnum when we needed a focus for what we were doing, and we decided to have a look at the Eco Congregation Award programme, and that is what inspired us to get going. We've found that a lot of the work that we've done has been just incorporated naturally into what we were already doing. So for example, the Christmas fair, where we might have used tablecloths, paper tablecloths, we're now using proper ones. We've not using paper plates anymore. We're thinking more holistically about everything that we do.
Another rural church which has been energised by creation care is St Wilfrid's in Carverley.
We are very conscious that we are trying to look after God's acre. That means that the whole of the churchyard we want to have as careful and as sympathetic to the environment and all God's creatures as possible. Apart from the big project with the sheep and the goats, we've also created that little bit of lawn that you can see just behind us. We had a big piece of the churchyard and we converted that into a wildlife corner which the Scouts are helping to look after, and the big section in front of it we're converting that into a wildlife meadow. When we first put the sheep and goats in, we had a very bad press and we had nasty letters sent to the newspaper about the sacrilege of allowing sheep and goats in the churchyard. After the initial bad press, we had some very good write-ups about it, and it has brought a lot more people into the churchyard.
Our local and global environment is shared by all of our communities. Emmanuel Church near Sheffield is discovering how the Eco Congregation Award Scheme can help develop its relationship with its neighbouring school.
We actually are linked to 4 denominations: Anglicans, Methodists, Baptists and URST. And so we draw on strengths of those denominations for what we're doing. And environment is one of the things that's been developed through this.
Emmanuel Church have partnered with their next door infant and junior school to build a forest hut and use the church garden as an educational playground.
There's a great deal of potential because the schools are both eco schools and we're an eco congregation.
As well as working with the schools, they serve their local community by taking God's love out onto the streets.
This is litter picking. It's in fact one of the easiest things people can do. We've now got our highlight jackets on so that people know we're from Emmanuel Church. Now and then they'll say, isn't it a mess? Why are people doing this? Really, the local community is damaging the environment, and we're trying to do something to help an improvement of it. So it's part of our caring for God's creation. The local authority have been a great help. Our equipment is on loan from them, and when people have filled their black bags, and they've got some here now at the moment, then we arrange for the local authority to collect them.
In addition to working out in the community, Emmanuel has been busy making their church building more sustainable.
we couldn't afford to do the project ourselves, so we were dependent upon grants. We took the walls and they were insulated, and that was under a government scheme. We then did the windows, they're double glazed. We also had a problem in the roof. The square area there was open and we were losing a lot of heat through there, and had that filled in, which has made a big difference. They reckon that 50% of the heat disappeared through there. And then we did something about the lighting. We had 4 candelabras round the roof. They looked very nice, but they weren't very efficient. Whereas this lighting now is 70% more efficient than what was there before. And this is all part of trying to make the church more efficient in heating so that we reduce our carbon footprint, which means we're helping to reduce, we hope, climate change.
At Bradford Cathedral, the challenge of how to make their historic building sustainable is very different.
Hello, my name is Canon Andy Williams. I'm Canon Pastor at Bradford Cathedral. Well, the solar panels project came further down the line, and it came after we had worked at other ways of saving our energy. We said, what else can we do towards reducing our carbon footprint and caring for creation? All sorts of ideas bubbled up, and we decided that a good way of focusing our work was to apply for the Eco Congregation Award, which I think is an excellent scheme. So that's what we did. You have to meet certain criteria, and we managed to secure that in 2010. And we realised that having reduced our energy use in all sorts of different ways, the next stage was to try and generate electricity and see whether some form of microgeneration was possible. We looked at other possibilities, such as sticking a wind turbine on the tower and ground source heat pumps, but that wasn't viable. Then we looked at the possibility of solar panels. We've got 42 solar panels, which is a system that is just under 10 kilowatts, and that generates, over the course of the 12 months, roughly half of our own use. So we use about half of what we generate. In the summer months, some of that's sold back to the grid, and it's a symbol, really, as much as anything, that we take climate change seriously. There was a lot of media interest at the time, and one of the things we were keen to do was to talk to the immediate our neighbours around here. And there's a business that's just behind me here who, in fact, are the only people who can see the panels. And so we went to them and said, we were thinking of doing this. Would you like to come and talk to us about it and see what it will mean? They did. And they said, well, we're not only supportive, we'd like to see whether we could do it on our building as well. And that's the sort of thing that's been happening. And it was covered by BBC Look North and my Yorkshire Post. And after that, yes, we got quite a lot of inquiries from people outside the church.
It's great to see how at Bradford Cathedral other people take notice when Christians take an active role in caring for the environment. In neighbouring Leeds, another eco-congregation, St Chad's, has been making the care of creation part of their church life for several years. We met Claire and Richard from their green team.
I'd been looking for a church to attend regularly in this area, and came across St Chad's. Environmental issues are very kind of important to me and a long-term interest. So arriving at St Chad's and getting a great welcome, but also the opportunity to get involved with the green team has been a bonus, really. One of the key areas of activity from the green team has been promoting recycling within the congregation and amongst our visitors to the church. So we have a big box in our foyer and encourage people to drop off items such as printer cartridges, batteries, milk bottle tops, old spectacles, etc. And they're collected on a regular basis and distributed out to organisations and charities that can recycle them on our behalf. As part of the Green Team, we've also developed a recycling brochure for visitors and for our congregation to inform and advise people of where they can go in the local area to take unwanted items for recycling.
Down the road in Ossett, near Wakefield, Paul and his congregation are working through a major building renovation project.
I guess from my own Christian discipleship, I've always been aware of my responsibility before God for the creation of which we're a part. But it was only when faced with the challenge of a building of this magnitude, which is well known around this area as being perishingly cold. The cost of heating, as we all know from our own bills that we pay for our homes, is a significant cost, and it's a significant cost to the planet as well. So we wanted to ensure that we weren't damaging the environment by utilising the natural heat in the ground, bringing it into the building. The way in which the ground source heat pump works is that you pump fluid down into the ground, so it goes down 130 metres, and when it comes back up it's 3 degrees warmer than it was when it went down. It's a very sustainable option because the cost of running a heating system based on a ground source heat pump is simply the cost of electricity to drive the pump. The final phase is an expensive phase because that's when we're doing all the double glazing. The first window which we've been able to successfully work on is this west window. Double glazing has been fitted to the new stone. The stained glass is hung on a brass frame and sits completely within the building. Whilst it's a large building and quite a challenging space to keep warm and to light and heat, if we don't need the whole building, then we can just pull the curtains and use this nave space. There's another set of curtains behind the further pillars as well. It's soft furnishing, it doesn't interfere with the fabric of the building, and if somebody in the future wants to take it out, they can do that. It is a demanding process, but it is very worthwhile.
This kind of leadership from the church is key in bringing about transformation in the life of individuals. In York, we met Rob, who's been working through what he can do.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm from St Michael of Balfrey Church. I love God, I love His creation, I love where we are, I love England, and part of that faith and part of that love is to take care of it, to take care of what God's given to us. So this is the reason why I do small things, use the cycle to come to work. Anyone can do this. People can take all sorts of small steps, whether it be walking your children to school rather than using the car, whether it be putting the heating off an hour earlier when you go to bed. There's all kinds of things that you can do as long as you're thoughtful of it, and I think that our relationship with God should sort of provoke us to do that as well. As we're more thoughtful about what He's given to us, then we think about how we can give back to Him. At home we recycle, we reuse what we can't recycle. We also do what we can to save water. We conserve it when we wash up, we shower rather than take baths. We use water savers and water systems in our toilets. We recycle our kitchen waste, which we use on the allotment as compost. There's something so wonderful about working on the allotment, being around the birds and the insects. You can get really close to God. This is creation, and this is His creation. This is why we take care of it.
Many of the churches you've seen featured in this film are winners of a Roche's Eco Congregation Award. The Eco Congregation scheme inspires and equips churches to put creation care into practice in their spiritual life, practical church management, and by working with the wider community. It comes with loads of resources and ideas for action, and plenty of help online, by phone or in person from mentors. You may already be doing lots to care for the environment and just want the encouragement that receiving the award brings, or you may be feeling completely at sea about how to get started. Eco Congregation can help. Check our website or give us a ring.
As the
human race, we're discovering increasingly, it seems, that what we do in our part of the world can negatively impact people, animals, creation in other places. When we discovered that it was possible to take heat freely from the ground without damaging anything, we thought that was wonderful.
From a personal point of view, I strongly feel that it was God's remit to us right from the start to care for his world, and I think very often we see ourselves as separate from creation, and God definitely wanted us to be a part of it and integral to it, because our lives depend on everything else, and if God hadn't intended that, then he would have made us superior, but we're not.
I think one of the most frightening things that Jesus said, of all the things he said that were frightening, is that much will be expected of those to whom much is given. And we live in a rich part of the world. We're in a third of the world that is well off, and we have used more than our fair share of creation's resources.
Lord, we join with all creation in praising you for the wonders of your world. Forgive us for our greed and abuse of the planet Earth. Inspire us to live lives that acknowledge our dependence on your provision in your creation. Help us to start here and now to renew the face of the earth as an act of love for all our global neighbors. Amen.